Hi, Carol here, and a warm welcome to my craft room today. I've been down MIA with bronchitis, laryngitis. I had a migraine in the middle of that, so it's a rough week. But I did have this video waiting to get edited. And can you see this? It's 43 minutes and 12 seconds long, but I have a good excuse for that. The reason why it's that long is because this is a card I've had stuck in my mind to do for months. I wanted to create a shaker card that when you shake the elements from the top, right here, the canning jar, it's going to have white glitter in it. But when it travels down, it's going to come down black. And it's going to go into the bottom canning jar as black glitter. So you're going to look at it thinking, how is it shaking out black when there's white on the top? So that was why this video is long and why I had to kind of work at it. It was a hard video to edit as well because it was so crazy long. But I thought you'd enjoy the process just in case you wanted to do something like that, and you would learn from my mistakes because it's packed full of them. I took out my baby powder here. That's what I used with my dollar store blush brush because I'm going to fill this card full of canning jars. It has a chunky fat one in this set, and it also has this long one. So we're going to put all of them on here, and I find using this Fiskars stamp press works very well for doing this because you can see to situate whatever images you want to put on actually. And I wanted to fit as many as I could on one card base. So as we go along, I think you're going to find this quite amusing. If you have that much time to watch this video, it just gets funnier as it keeps going. But I thought I would just share it with you because why not, right? I'm using detailed silver embossing powder here because I want to use two of the images, the fat and the thin, and I also want to use two of the lids, and then we'll be Copic coloring them. And so far it's not going too bad. I mean, how bad can you be just embossing some images? And now we're going to put the little sentiment and the images inside the bottles that I want to have. And the fat one has the tree and the little dog, I think. And the longer one has Merry Christmas under the lid, and it has a house and falling snow. One of them, yes, this has falling snow. I'm pretty sure of it. And yeah, and this one has the house. And the only reason I'm putting them on like this is I want to pick them up from the Fiskars stamp press to put my black ink on. Now we are going to be using StazOn ink because I'm going to, whenever I do a see-through clear image, especially if it's a shaker card, I use acetate and the StazOn ink. It makes the images pop, and it's going to dry on there nicely on the acetate. So as you can see up there, I have the two elements ready. The only thing with that one is one of my StazOn inks was dry, so I had to get out a new one and open it up and put it down on the acetate. You have to be very careful to make sure you keep that lid inside that the StazOn ink comes with. Mine was probably from using it so much, but I did have a spare because, as you know, I buy things in two. So yeah, so I have that all ready to go. I'm going to look at it to see if it sits nicely on there, and it does. So I'm going to cut around it, but only, I'm not going to cut the lid, right? Because just a little bit over the lid. Now, how I came up with this is so funny. You know those days you have when you're just lying around and you're trying to think of a card to do that's different. And I thought if I took acetate and I directed it from one spilling jar into the other, and the acetate was bent in such a way that if I put two colors in the one, here's the Hero Arts set right here. Isn't it cute? It just has every element fits inside those jars, and there's the number if you're interested in it. So anyway, you have to cut your acetate so that it goes from one jar to the next. And I know that sounds easy, but wait till I get going on this. It's not as easy as it sounds. And the way I wanted to do it, excuse me, that didn't go either. But you know what? Experiments, when you experiment with things, very seldom do they turn out the first time, I find. So the next card I do this, because this is not an attractive card in the end at all, at all. It was totally experimental, but I stuck with it to the end because that's what I do. And whether it looked ugly or it didn't, I wanted to do it because I knew I've perfected it down now to be able to do it properly. But I did want to show you. Here I'm taking my dark gray Copic marker and I'm going over all the sides so that you don't see the white cardstock, and you know we usually do that. And then I'm going to seat this right there, and we're going to use our alcohol inks and color on it. Now this one I tried with the gray, but I didn't like it, so I restamped that as well. But I didn't keep it in because, oh my, can you imagine how long that would be? So I just took my Copic markers out, and now we're going to color the two images that I'm going to use, and it will be the lids. And I take out, I think it's the C3, C5, C7, if I can remember that right there. After I take my light tone, my mid tone, and my dark tone, I keep the dark across the bottom. You'll see it. I go the darker on the sides, and then I kind of push it in. Doesn't that look nice? It really does look like a silver lid to a mason jar. And then we're going to dip it into some clear embossing powder. We're going to give it 2 dips so it's nice and thick. And then we're going to cut them off of the actual jars because the black glitter is going to be underneath the canning jar, the short one. I'm going to have it hidden there, but I'm going to have the light above it, the light glitter inside just the jar portion, and then under the lid's going to be the black. So when I shake it, just the black's going to come out of the lid because that's where all the little pieces parts are, right, that are black. Does that make any sense? Phew, yeah, that was my thought. Now we're going to get out the colors we want to use in our dental picks, and we're going to color. I love doing this on acetate. I stamp the image and then I turn the image onto the other side, and I color on the opposite side that I stamped on. It makes it much better. That way you don't take a chance of moving the actual stays-on ink, which is possible if you put the solution down to move your inks. So here I'm just taking some yellow for inside the windows, and I'm going to add some smoke out of the chimney, and I'm going to add some yellow and green to the tree, and 2 different colored blues for the top. You can tell I hardly have any air since this bronchitis thing hit me. I wasn't sure whether I'd even be able to get this out, but I couldn't wait because it's been a while and I don't like to keep my videos this long before putting one up to YouTube. And I want to thank all my wonderful subscribers as well. Now that I think of it, I can't believe I've already gained another 700 subscribers since my 5,000 subby thing 3 weeks ago, so that's amazing. Thank you, everybody. So here we're just going to draw with these little dental picks. You pick them up at your pharmacy and or Walmart. They have them. I used to get them at work. When we had too many of them, we'd all take them home. So I stacked up on them before I retired from orthodontics, and works out wonderfully. So here we're going to finish. It dries immediately, and then we're going to seat it where we want. And see on the grass there, that's from using the solution. It breaks up the alcohol inks and moves it, so it gives it that 3D look. So that's awful nice to squirt a little bit of that solution on the side and take your stick pick and work it in. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other one here that I have to restamp. The only thing I would have done different here with the snow, I stamped it black with the black stays on. I wouldn't have done that because I wanted the glitter to all look light, because the illusion is that the light glitter is in the fat canning jar, and then the black is hiding under the jar. But if you have those little dots of black snow, it kind of looks like it could come from the top. But you know what? I learned that from my next card. Trust you me, this card's not going out to anybody. No way. This is my experimental card. Truly. I can't laugh because it just makes me cough. Yeah. This, I knew it was experimental. I knew it was. Because of the way you have to have the acetate going from one, it has to be folded, and it has to be able to draw the black seed beads or glitter, whatever. It has to be able to grab them from the lid, and when you shake it, it has to come down the acetate into the other jar. So you'll see how I construct that, but I've now thought of a different way of doing this. Totally different way, and I'm going to put that video up. It will not be this long, trust you. I apologize for the length. There was nothing I could have done. I took out so much stuff just to get it down to 43 minutes, believe it or not. So here we have the sky and the little, the little dog and the bear. And that's going on the fat jar. So I wanted to put a little bit of dark gold down on, so they had somewhere to rest there. And yeah, it's lovely because it dries instantly. I always, you know why I do that? I'm just going to tell you. It gives it texture. It puts little dots on it. And why not have texture, right? So I'm all about texture and details, if you haven't noticed. Now you want to take and cut them around the short canning jar. And I want to state that the black seed beads are underneath the lid, the canning jar lid, and the clear ones are in the actual canning jar of the chunky one, the short chunky one. So we'll get to see that later on. That was a thing I had to figure out. I had to hide the black so that when you tipped the top jar, it would be hiding. They would be all underneath the lid to fall down into the other canning jar and look like an illusion, because taking those seeds from one canning jar to the other was just folded acetate. But I figured out a way to do it in, it'd look amazing. What I didn't do is I didn't make the top portion of the acetate wide enough. But you know what? That's okay, because I don't mind doing videos and putting them up if it teaches us how we can improve things. That's how I feel. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be a video on, if you're going to do this, this is what you don't do. That's what this video is all about. Don't do this. But you can do this. Yeah, that's my excuse anyway. There's going to be a lot of little intricate things, such as putting the tape on to hold the acetate to the cardboard. Then you're going to have the double-sided tape too high and cut very thin, because you want to make sure that you still gain the integrity of the canning jar, right? You don't take a lot away, especially from your pictures that you've colored there. So here's the funny thing. Now this just cracked me up, okay? I wanted to have this slider like this. I'm telling you, this nearly drove me crazy. I just have to share it with you. I worked an hour trying to just figure that out. Okay, so how do I have to put it so that it would go down, then when it got to the end, it would tip, and the black seeds would come down into that canning jar, and you wouldn't see. How is it coming down? Because you have that acetate hiding it. But let me tell you something. You can't do it like that with the method I used. Yes, you can do it, and I'll show you that in another video. It can be done. I learned from my mistake. It can go like that. But you have to make your acetate from the fat jar to the skinny jar oval. It has to be 45 degrees angles. You're working with total angles here. So when I do it the next time, I'm going to know how to angle it properly. I'm just showing you the cardstock, which means nothing. You'll see you just have to put a card base together. And look at them all. Oh, I had tons of them. Because right here I thought it was going to all come together, but it didn't. And I spent hours, but that's okay. Because sometimes you have to spend hours to get a concept that will work. And I've never seen this done. I didn't find this anywhere. This was totally in this old little cranium of mine. And what it is the illusion of having silver seed beads in the jar, but when you tipped it, black ones came out. And then you didn't know, why is it not going all over the place when it's coming out? Because you bent the acetate and it's from one jar to the next jar. That's the key. So here I'm putting double-sided tape on, and I'm going to put it on this card base, which, can you believe this? That was 7.5 by 7. Phew. You don't need this big a card base, but, you know, I didn't know at the time, so, I always say go big or go home. You know, that's kind of my philosophy. I like big cards and can't help it. So I made it 7.5 by 7, and it looked really pretty, but it had extra space, so I think I'd put it to a 6 by 6 card. I will put it to a 6 by 6 card next time. I wasn't sure if I should have a break here where you can go get some coffee, tea, or popcorn, because we're not even halfway. Yeah, so you can stop it and have a break. So here I have the slider. Okay, let's go with that. I don't use this slider later on, by the way. Let me tell you now, if you want to just fast forward the video. It's okay. But that was my original concept, and on my next card next week, you will see this card done properly because I learned exactly how to do this. Exactly. I know the angles, I've measured them out. I have I sat later that evening and I constructed the acetate to fold and to bend in the right degrees, and it will work. But this video isn't it. I honestly, I don't know why I'm putting it up, but I thought it was such a fun video for us, and you can learn at the same time. And yeah, so here we go. This is going to have the seed beads in the top portion of the short fat one on top. Then I'm going to have my double-sided tape on the lid going all the way around because that's where I have to house the black beads. So it's going to be double high on the lid, and then another lid will go on top so that you don't see those black seed beads, and that's the illusion. Those are going to fall, and then you're going to have seed beads on the bottom which are clear, and everybody's going to think that clear beads came out, but it doesn't. Black comes out. So now we're going to just look at how thin. I'm telling you, this is thin because, and then I found another thing. If you're cutting, take the tape off first. Don't leave the tape on. It works much better. And of course, if the thinner, the better to go around the curves. But after I did this, I realized that the next one, you'll see that I take the tape right off. And I work with it that way. That cover was driving me crazy. So here I'm putting down the the clear glitter on the bottom. So you're going to take off this, and I was going to do it just one high, like this, but it wouldn't move around for me quite like I wanted it. So I grabbed another one, and I took off, I'm sure here I took off the, maybe it's on the next one. Have mercy, I'm not feeling well. I can't remember anything here. Yeah, so it's too high. And like I say, it's intricate. This is an intricate card. It has to go to somebody you really like because you're going to take a while to do this. But it's worth it. I think it is. And then I put a little bit more glitter because now I have it double high. I put the acetate over top, just I'd say a 1/16 of an inch above the lid. Just a tiny bit. And I need to put my black beads now in the lid. So I'm going to have to put double-sided tape, yep, all the way across there and actually all the way around. I was drawing things out and measurements and all kinds of things to get the right angles on this. And yeah, here's where I decided just take that paper right off, Carol. Yeah, makes it so much easier. And I went around here. You don't need to go over the top, just around the outside, right? And then it has to be too high because you're going to put your black glitter in there. Bend it around and put another layer on, but you have to leave, on this one I left a 1-inch hole for the black glitter to come out. Now if I did it when I do my next card next week, it's going to be halfway, not this little bit. You need half to have it that opening so that your acetate fits up inside, which it does here, but it needs to be, the length needs to be a little wider on the bottom there. Then you're going to put your acetate over top to stop the seed beads, right? And then you have to construct the acetate bend so that I'm putting double-sided tape here because you have to put the lid on it. Everything will have double-sided tape over top of all of this foam here. I'm just looking at it to see what I'm doing here. Yeah, so you take that off because you have to put your actual jar down. And then I used the Copic colors to Copic my jar so it looked like a nice canning jar. And then you have to cut the guts, the middle of it, out. So don't, what I do here is I put the acetate right over top of the glue and then I cut around it. I find it works much better because how else would you do it to get it? You know, you'd be just guessing. So you can see that I have that little piece of constructed acetate folded sticking out of that top portion. See, it's about 1 inch coming out of there, out of that 1/2 inch little hole. And then you're going to get your top portion. We're going to cut all the way around it here so that you can see through like that. And then we're going to take our Copic markers and make it a canning jar. We're going to use our C3, C5, and C7 and cut it out. And remember, if you have a sentiment in there, you have to make sure when you're cutting that you make sure you have enough space to be able to see the sentiment, because in that one jar I have Merry Christmas, not this fat one, but the longer one. So now I'm just going to go around with my 3 markers and I'm going to make it look like a canning jar, hopefully. And don't forget to do the inside with your marker as well on the inside of the cut that you just made. And on the back of this I'm putting that orange tape so that it holds it down well and it doesn't come up. And it's going to hide all of the glitter beads, the black on the lid and the clear on the bottom. And I really enjoyed doing something that I haven't seen. And you know, if you find one like this, please let me know because I'd like to see how they did it. It would make it easier for me for next week when I do it, but I think I have it down now how to do it properly. And trial and error, right? Now, what I like to do is Copic color on both sides of my canning jars. That way, from the side, you don't see anything. It just makes it look nice, I think. And so that's what I'm doing there. Just making sure that it's all grayed out. And then I have to do the lid because I'm going to cut that off. And then I have to cut around the inside portion to put over top of this other canning jar right there. Okay, so that's going to be the bottom. And then we're going to see where the light portion of the Copic marker is. Look at this. Just watching it's cracking me up. See how you have to have a 45-degree angle for that acetate to come down when that card moves on the slider? It cannot be straight out like that. It has to have that round curve. And then your slider has to be shorter. You don't want a long slider because it will push that acetate away from the card, spilling all of the black glitter. Doesn't work that way, but there is a way it will work, and next week I will show you that. I guess it's this week I will show you that. As soon as I'm feeling better, I'm going to get this card up. It won't be near as long as this because I worked on all the measurements and I have it down now. So here I'm just going to fight my way through it because I knew when I started that it may not work. And I've never done anything like this, and I haven't seen any other tutorials on it, so I had to kind of come up with it in my head. But if you do find a video that shows something like this, please let me know because I would like to see how they did it. That would be wonderful. So now we're going to start over. I am going to glue this down. I'm not even going to try making a slider on it because it's not going to work. I don't have enough angle on my acetate for my black glitter. So look at this. So I'm thinking, okay, what if I put a straight, like I don't make my, I'll put a shorter slider on there. Would that work? No, it won't. It'll only work if I have a curve in the acetate coming from can A to can B. It's the only way. So it doesn't matter how much you work with it like this, when your acetate that's coming from one canning jar to the other, from the top to the top, it has to be bent on an angle. And it can be bent in a round angle. And you can have it so that you can't see it as well. Because on here, I bent it 1/16 of an inch. I scored it, the acetate that's going to carry my glitter from one canning jar to the other. But you want to do it in an L shape, so that the L shape will have double-sided tape under it and hold it down, and you don't have to worry about having to put stuff to cover it. And I'll explain that in just a minute as soon as I get this figured out, because I don't even use this. I get another piece of white paper, I put glue underneath it, and I just glue it down. My beads are holding it down there till I get this canning jar ready. Now see what I mean about that piece of acetate that's going to take the black seed beads to the other canning jar right there? That has to be rounded, not straight. It has to be curved. Can't say that enough. And it has to be folded and creased on an L, not just one way, not just one crease. It has to be double creased, almost like an M shape. So I'll show you that on the next card. So here I'm just putting it back into the lid, and that's what's going to carry my black beads that are hidden underneath the canning jar lid there. And now I'm going to make all of the adjustments so that I have a double high piece of double-sided tape there on the roll, so I could put a lot of beads in there. And like I said at the beginning, this is a intricate, detailed card if you're going to do this. And when you see my next card, it won't be this difficult. It's kind of like my sample page to see how much card space I needed as a base. And it was also an experiment to see how I could get it on a slider. But it didn't work this way, but that's okay. You know, the idea is there. And if you can run with it and send me the video that you did, I'd love to see it. I really would. Now, once you have all of the roll of tape doubled and you get it all the way around, that's going to be just about the best thing you could have done, because that's what makes it so intricate. It's all of the taping and the thinness of getting it around the beautiful acetate picture that you made. And yeah, so that after you get that done, it's easy peasy all the way. And now that I have all the measurements written out for my next card, that one will be easy peasy, and it will be a far different look than this. I will be able to have a slider, and it will slide over to the other canning jar, and it will pour the seed beads in a larger way. Now, I have to explain something to you here. You're going to just, on this one, you're going to seat your acetate first, right? Then you're going to put the piece you cut out for your canning jar. next. So I'm just making it, cutting it. Because up to here, and then you want to put your black beads down at the bottom, because there's only so many black beads that are going to come out from that top lid because it's short and not very wide. So you want it to have some black beads on the bottom portion. But yet, through that piece of acetate, you're going to see black beads fall from one jar to the other when there's no black beads in the top one at all. There's just clear. And that's this illusion I wanted to have for a card. That was my whole thing. But now what happened, look right here. I have to put double-sided tape on either side because I didn't make an L on my acetate. And after I got the card made, I realized, Carol, you didn't have to do that. All you had to do was cut it and score it twice so that you had the L shape, but I didn't. I only scored it once. So to have it that the beads didn't get out, I had to put the sticky double-sided tape on each side, and that led to a whole other problem. Yes, I won't do that on my next card. It will not have sticky on either side because I know how to place my acetate. And another thing, I was talking to a friend on Facebook while we were doing this, and at the end of the video, I left it in. It's just so funny. We're talking on how I'm going to get it to get the beads down, and I'm banging it on the table, and she's laughing her head off, and I left that in for you because why not, right? This video is hysterical up till now, so I thought I might as well leave that in. It's funny. So to cover that crazy two pieces coming out from my acetate that's dropping the black glitter, I didn't want you to see that there had that. What am I thinking here? A yellow doily? Are you kidding me? Get that off there. And then I thought, because there's all double-sided tape strips all the way around this whole card. So then I thought, okay, why don't we fold and make this like full curtain folds? And that will hide that. And I thought, Carol, that's not a kitchen. Although you do have canning jars in your kitchen. But when I looked at it, I said, get that off. That doesn't look good either. So I ripped that off after I had it all done. And that won't happen on my next card because I'm going to have paper. And then I thought, okay, let's put it flat. And the only reason I have all this on there is to cover those two crazy pieces alongside the acetate where the glitter is going to fall out, so that the glitter didn't get out on the edges. Isn't that crazy? That's why I'm saying you have to fold it twice like an L, so that you can put double-sided tape under the L and no one will see it. But this way I didn't have the L, so I had to put the double-sided tape to hold the glitter in, and it caused all this to happen. Okay, now I'm thinking to myself, okay, let's get this flat lace on there and see how that looks. And I just didn't like it. I didn't like it for the reason it showed all the tape pieces through it. And I thought, okay, why don't I cover it double? And I thought, this is not coming together at all. So I had to just accept that this was not going to be a card that's going out to anybody. This is just going to be an experimental card. So I grabbed some of my doilies. Yes, paper doilies. Can you believe this? I mean, I'm going from worse to worse. Worse to worser. Yeah. So here, and all I'm trying to do is cover those two strips alongside that acetate that is holding the illusion of it falling a different color from one can to the other. That's all I'm doing here. All of this aggravation was for that. And that's why on the next card, when I show you the difference, I'm really glad that I put this up because, excuse me, you'll be able to see all of the areas. If you watch this one and then watch the next one, you're going to see how easy peasy and all of this you eliminate. And all the measurements will be up for you to be able to, that's why I didn't put any measurements up with this, because there's no way. This is just too much. But you know what? I just kept at it, and I thought, okay, now what am I going to do? I didn't like that either. Now I'm thinking to myself, okay, what if I put some trees going along there? And, you know, you have trees in the jars and all that. And you have to remember that I'm talking to my friend on FaceTime. we're FaceTiming, we're talking as I'm creating, and she's doing Christmas cards at her end, and we're just, you know, keeping each other company. And I'm thinking, I just can't put trees on there. I mean, that would be, I just didn't like that idea. So I thought, well, what about burlap? You know, and then I thought, oh, that's just going to take, look at, it'd have to be pieces parts all over. So here I had some of this brown. I ordered this lace, and it was supposed to be beige, and it came in this brown. And I thought, hey, this looks like trees. Can you believe it? Yeah, I thought trees. I don't know what I was thinking. It was pretty late too. You don't want to do this stuff really late at night. But anyway, I put it down there because it was a nice lace and it was brown. And you could see the white underneath. And I thought, it's not going out to anybody, Carol. Just remember that. And yeah, so I put it down. And I wound up with this. And I also had to pieces part it too, which is worse. I mean, wait till you see what it looks like. It went okay up until here, but then when I got this oval piece, and can you imagine all of this is because I put those 2 strips of double-sided tape alongside that acetate where my black glitter stones are going to fall down from that top canning jar. That's all it was. If I hadn't done that, everything would have been fine. But here I'm thinking to myself, okay, I have to cover it because you don't want to see that. And yeah, I just kept going because I thought, you know what, I'm going to keep it just as an experiment thing and be able to look at, you know, when I started to think about this and whatever. But what I wanted to tell you is while I'm doing this, I'm going to keep in a portion of my friend and I talking on FaceTime. I thought it would be so funny because I'm trying to bang it to get the glitter from the top little jar down to the black, you know, the black out of the lid so that it goes down into the large canning jar. And it was hysterical because it was so thin, I think, it just would not come out in a stream like I wanted it to. I don't know if it was sticking to the glue on the top. That's why I have to reconstruct this. There's just so many little areas that they just aren't right. But I'll come back after you hear us talking because I think it's so funny. I said, you know, to my friend, I got to keep this in so that people can hear this because this is me thinking, there's no way I'm putting this up. There is no way. You know, like, what am I going to do? Look I'm even thinking of putting something down there. Oh, my friend said, take that away. I said, thank you. Yeah, so anyway, here we are in real time. We'll see in just a little bit. You have this coming down. Then it comes down through here. I got to explain it. Then it comes down through there.
Explain it.
And it's down here. So if you tip it up, goes up in there. Good thing nobody can hear it. And then when it comes down, oh, if I could get it up there, just a minute. If I could get it up there. Okay, here we go. So you have that and that. So when I set it on here, and I tap it on there. Where is it? Is it stuck up there? Or did I lose it all?
Look on the back. Did it come out the back?
Oh, I got 10% battery. If it goes out, you know my battery's out. I'm going to be kicking this thing's guts in.
I hear. Well, I'll be watching for. You think you'll have it up tomorrow?
Yes.
I can't waiting for the debut to see how you sell that one.
She's a car salesman.
Card sales.
Okay, just hang on. I have to show them. Well, there you have it, my friends, my experimental card. Thank you so much for joining me as always. I appreciate it. Thank you for your kind comments. They mean so much to me. And if you don't get a comment back from me, it's because it will not send it out for some reason. I don't know why, but that happens on some of them. So it's not that I didn't try. So anyway, have yourself a blessed week, everybody. Thank you for taking this entire time to watch this video. And I sure do appreciate it. Have a great week.